Let's get started. Junaid?
Sure.
Yeah. So, Assalamu alaikum to everyone and Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I should like to start with happy belated Independence Day to all of us.
Thank you.
My name is Syed Fahad Khalid and I will be the moderator of this session today. Session is on a ride-sharing app known as vCarpool. Just a brief intro about who's sponsoring this session. NAP Investment Forum, also known as PAC Launch. It will be basically the host of this session today. The objective of this forum is to serve Pakistani professionals and entrepreneurs to showcase their accomplishment and achievements, help startups and business raise financial capital, improve financial literacy and freedom, discuss global investment opportunities included but not limited to stocks, real estate, and startups. We have been hosting these sessions from last couple of months, and it's the same series, and this is about vCarpool today. Also, I would like to remind everyone that we have launched a website called parklaunch.com on August 14th. So I will highly appreciate if you guys can go visit it, make your profile there so that you can get all the future upgrades and also become part of other programs we're going to launch very soon. A brief intro of today's speaker. We have Junaid Lashari with us, who is the founder of vCarpool. And vCarpool is the largest intercity ride-sharing platform of Pakistan. I will hand over the mic to Junaid so that he can deep dive with us on what vCarpool is and tell us more about vCarpool.
Thank you, Fahad. Assalamu alaikum. Hi, and everyone. First of all, truly honored to present today. And before we begin, I want to like to thank you, Waqas, Ali, and other admins for the successful launch of our PAC launch. It's a great effort. So, let me share my screen.
We can see your screen, Junaid. Just confirming.
Wonderful. So guys, vCarpool, let me begin with the overview of vCarpool. We are the largest intercity carpooling platform of Pakistan. Usually our users are weekend travelers, and we have around 3,000 of them. These are mostly people from technology background and moving between different cities on weekends. This all started some 3 years back when we started making WhatsApp group of like-minded people traveling between different cities. And then these groups started expanding from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and so on. And eventually to test the concept, we launched our mobile application both on iOS and on Android in March 2018. But it was limited with only one route, which was Lahore and Islamabad. About our core team, me and Bilal, the co-founders, we are usually looking at the strategy, marketing, and its execution. Mr. Abid is looking after the technology part, and Abir is handling operations. And Mr. Abir has a very close connection with almost all of the travelers. Like many startups, I have a personal connection and a story to tell. This all started back in the days when I was working with Jazz. I had to move a lot between Islamabad and Lahore. So usually it was early Monday morning journeys, driving alone, no one to talk to, so much travel fatigue, a lot of spending on fuel. So I still remember I would ask my friends if someone can tag along, and it still pops up in my Facebook memories sometime when I am begging people to join me in, and I will take care of the snacks and coffee in between. But then in around 2017, things started changing. There was a massive centralization drive going on between different telcos in which people from Lahore were transferred to Islamabad. So there were many people now traveling, and they would ask me if I'm traveling, and if I'm not, if I could connect them with someone who is. So what we did is that a bunch of close friends, we make up a WhatsApp group, and we started sharing our rides on that. Soon enough, we were having requests to be added in the WhatsApp group. And it was initially a couple of friends, then people from the technology department in my organization, and then it started growing. Less than 2-3 months, we were at the limit of that WhatsApp group. Then we made another group, and then another group. So it was only the route of Lahore and Islamabad and weekend traveling back then. Then it was around 2017 and when we had to travel to the Bay Area for the study module at LAMS. So there we were meeting a lot of VCs and successful startups. And there were two things which I was listening quite frequently everywhere to address the pain point and assess the gap. So I realized that there is a pain point for every traveler in Pakistan, and there is a gap in the transportation industry. So there we decided that we should bridge this gap. And there we realized that we should launch our own platform. There was another reason to launch our own platform. It was that we were operating on WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp group has two limitations. The number one was the total number of participants in one group. And if it reaches, then you have to make another group. And then the people in one group does not have the visibility over the other one. So it is a bit limited horizon. Secondly, it was a third-party platform and we did not have any control over that. So we moved fast. We did a lot of surveys and we then launched our own platform. Let's talk about the problem. At that time when I was saying we were doing surveys, we were trying to identify and write our own problem statement. And then we figured out that our problem statement would be that how might we help intercity commuters to travel in a more convenient and economical way. Guys, the opportunity is enormous. There are a lot of people moving between the big cities for jobs, for studies. If you could see, there are only in between Lahore and Islamabad, 8,000 people are traveling daily on buses. Between Pune and Islamabad, 150,000 people are traveling. Between Lahore and Islamabad, there are 26,000 cars going every day. Also, if you could see that most of the industrial zones are outside the big cities, so the employees have to travel. With the advent of CPAC, there would be special economic zones. So there would be a lot of traffic from big cities to these special economic zones. Also, during our study, we realized that a lot of people come to study to bigger cities. There is traffic from Wah to Islamabad. Students are coming every day, and they are usually commuting through buses or public transport. So at this point in time, we try to identify who needs us the most. And we realized that it's someone who travels frequently and spends a significant portion of his resources on commuting. This could be a student with campus in a different city, or this could be a blue-collared employee between 18 to 45 years of age, starting to mid-career level. So these are our personas which we are going to target. But how we are going to help them? To me, the ideal solution is to connect people traveling on the same route. And that's how we started doing this. There are a lot of empty seats in most of the cars. We started by filling those empty seats. On the right-hand side, there is a demo of our application. So what you can do is that you go to our application, you select get a ride or offer a ride. And when you select get a ride, you have the selection of different routes. So you select the route on which you want to travel. Then there would be a listing of all the rides posted for that route. Now you have, according to your own preference, you can select between different rides which are available. Your preferences could be the cost, the time, the pick, the drop site, your luggage, smoking, no smoking, anything. So it has variety of options over there. So how all of this is being executed is that it's based on the cost sharing model. So there are reasonable proceeds for the car owner who is actually spending a lot of money on his traveling. One of our travelers, he told me that he's saving around 30,000 rupees a month. And then when we went into the mathematics, he was right. He was traveling every weekend and then he is going back. So it was around 30,000 rupees. And then there is the option of suitable pickup points between the driver and the rider. You could, agree upon from where you could be picked up. Usually what it is being done is that people are picked up and dropped on the way. So this reduces the overall journey time as well, because now you don't have to go to the bus terminal half an hour early. And so it reduces the end-to-end journey time. There's no hassle of booking. The app is fairly easy. And what we have tried is to have minimum touch points, so to have the very good experience. The most important thing is the social experience. This was something which we were not considering we were not very upbeat about this, but we later realized that this is the most important point of this ride sharing. Guys, when you are traveling on a bus, you don't know who the next person is. But here you could choose the person you want to travel with. So there are a lot of guys from your own organization. There are people with vast experiences, different kind of experiences. So many a times we have learned a lot during our journeys. So the boring journey actually, you picks up a certain kind of discussions, and then they become very interesting. Very interestingly, I want to tell you that people have actually landed jobs through connections made through this very network. And I usually tell my friends that your elevator pitch is like 1 or 2 minutes, but here you have the whole journey to impress upon someone. And one such experience was when one of my co-traveler, he had certain issues with his tax returns, and the guy sitting with me was heading the department which was actually handling the IT portion of those tax returns. So he was able to help him there and then. And likewise, there are people from very different departments. Actually, initially it was mostly a technology focus, but then it started growing, and now there are a lot of people from different walks of life. So it's a very good network to talk about, to learn from people. The journey so far has been very exciting. We have grown to around 3,000 users, all organic. It is currently from the word of mouth. It's been like 2 years, and we have offered around 4,800 trips, and 8,200 rides have been accepted. So the patron per month is roughly 340 rides. So now it is one of the challenges which we are facing, that the driver, his hair is on fire. He is the one who is spending the most. So he is very willing to offer the ride, but still we are not able to fill the seats to their limit. So our target is that all the 4 seats of the car should be filled. So we are now working on this challenge, how to overcome this. And to us, there are certain programs which I would be talking about in my later slides. That's how we are going to fill into these empty seats. When we were making this platform, actually we studied a lot of successes in the world and the failures as well. Not only in the world, but the most important thing is that even if the idea is successful somewhere, is it something which is going to be successful in the context of Pakistan? So we were actually thinking over these things, whether they are successful in the context of Pakistan, and we made a competitive matrix. There were very big companies doing the same thing, certain similar thing in Pakistan, and they were not successful. So we eventually realized that it's a winner takes it all market. So whosoever has those users, they will keep on growing. Most recently, Careem has also launched as intercity car travel. So we will assess on these 6 parameters with different other local startups. There are certain startups which have started after us. We would be discussing bus and then Careem. So the cost benefit with any ride sharing is better than the bus or Careem, but it again all depends that how many active users there are. So if the number is higher, only then you can have reasonable proceeds. Convenience and end-to-end journey time is more with any ride-sharing platform and with vCarpool specifically, because as I was saying that you could actually pick up guys on the way, and then you have the flexibility for stops, the flexibility of smoking, non-smoking, or any other preference. So it is you people who could eventually agree between yourself and then make your own decision. One thing which was a red flag, and when we were doing surveys, everyone was very much cautious about the security and reliability. So these 2 factors were in our mind, and we tried our level best to address these 2 issues, because these are actually the pain points. So to To cover the security aspect, what we did is that we kept 4-factor authentication. The number one is that we register your mobile number, so you get a code on your mobile number. The second one is you link your Facebook profile, so you could see what sort of a person you are traveling with. The third and the most important is that we send an email to your official email address. So it could be your organization email address or your institute email address. So when you verify it, it appears as a badge on your profile. So this badge matters the most. So the badge could be like Jiki badge, LUMS badge, or the badge could be Jazz, Telenor, MCB. So you could know that this guy is a professional. Then the number 4th is the referral. So as I was telling you, this all so far is a closed group. Someone knows someone. So this is being the most reliable thing. So there is a badge. The initial travelers who were traveling through vCarpool, when they were migrated from the WhatsApp group to this, we gave them the badge of vCarpool. So their referral is vCarpool. And if someone is being referred by me, then it would appear as Junaid Ashari is the referral. So you would know that this guy is someone you could trust. And these all factors actually add into the profile strength. Then again, there is a feedback process. So after the ride, all the guys, they rate each other, and then it becomes as the strength of your profile. So your profile strength keeps on increasing or decreasing based on the ratings you get. And another badge on your profile is how many rides you have availed and how many rides you have offered. And then there is comment section as well. So it is pretty convenient to filter. So if you are not comfortable with the ride, you could, scroll down and go and search another one. I'm pretty confident then you will get something which is of your liking and according to your preferences. So the social experience I already touched upon. And another thing I want to tell you is that I explained our persona. So it is something around 18 to 45 because we thought that the barriers for executives and women is high. So we were not really targeting them, but I'm glad to tell you that there are around 20-25 women using this service very regularly. And then there are CEOs of public and private companies as well. And I actually traveled with one fine lady, and she was a very good driver, and she was working in the development sector, and I got to learn a lot about how the UN different departments work in Pakistan. So usually our social setup is like we usually meet with the people which we are close contact in, and it's mostly for the engineering guys, it's engineering people. So when diverse people come, you learn a lot and share the ideas. So it's a very pleasant thing. Now coming to our business plan, our target is that first we will achieve growth, and then we will target revenue or profitability. By growth, we mean that we need a critical mass. I have defined it like 10,000 is our critical mass. As I already explained, this is a winner takes it all market. So the higher the number of people you have, the chances is that the newer people will come on your platform. So we are delaying our monetization. Our monetization scheme is that we will be taking around 10 to 15% from every ride, and it could come through the driver. Another reason, as I was explaining, is like delaying is two-pronged. One is that we need the acceleration. The second one is that we really want the mobile financial services in Pakistan to pick up, and then we will piggyback on those. I have been asking people 6 months back that how many of you have Jazz or EasyPaisa or any such account, and if I would ask 10 people, 3 would tell that they have. Then after in like 6 months, there was like 6 people telling me that we have the wallets of either EasyPaisa or Jazz Cash. I haven't done this experiment after post-COVID, but I believe that number must have been increased. So it is actually picking up, and we would be having our wallet integrated with these kind of services, and then the transactions would be cashless. So now coming on the different matrices, our proof of concept is done. We have realized that this is working. We have the users which we have are repeat users. people only leave the platform when their need for traveling is minimized. Otherwise, they are coming time and again. So far, we haven't done any real marketing. It is all organic. We have just done certain marketing experiments, which I will be talking in the very next slide. Platform improvement is ongoing. We have, based on feedback, done certain add-ons. Certain features are added, certain are removed, so that we keep the touch points minimum and yet communicate what people want to see. New routes are being added. We have added Peshawar, Islamabad. It has really picked up. We have added Faisalabad route. It has a lot of traffic as well. Next, what we are targeting is Hyderabad, Karachi, which has enormous potential in it. Cashless transactions is our ultimate target, that everything should be handled through a wallet. Partnerships is one thing I am very upbeat about. This is which will provide us the necessary acceleration. And our target is to do the marketing in such a way that it leads into partnerships and collaborations. So about our marketing strategy, we have done certain experiments. We have done digital marketing, and we have also done certain fuel promotions. What we did is that we shared fuel with the one who is sharing the most rides. And believe you me, this was the promotion. This promotion brings the maximum new users on the platform. And then the drivers were urging people to use more and more and through the application. Because one of our constraints, I will be very candid, is that we don't want to be cannibalized. So when we are actually monetizing or trying to bring people to the platform, there are certain people who would make offline connections, and then they will keep using it according to in that closed group. But the advantage when you have a 10,000 people critical mass is that those guys in any closed group, they won't have such a visibility, such big opportunity. And so the most people would be sharing rides on the platform, so you would come anyway on the platform. We are really looking after for partnerships with organizations and with different institutes. And we have done one student ambassador program in LAMS, and it went well. We want to continue this. We will have different ambassadors, not only in the organizations, but in different institutes. As I was mentioning, we want to fill the empty seats. Now the rides are more and the seats are not filled properly. So this will, I believe, will land us more and more users. We have done certain direct marketing to organization, and it has borne fruit. Initially, we started with the Jazz, and from the word of mouth, many people from Jazz came, then their vendors, and this is how the network started growing. So this is one thing we want to continue, and this is in our plan to be focused. Digital marketing was not something which was providing us the desired results. So, and the customer acquisition cost would vary massively. It will vary from like $4.4 to $0.2 and vice versa. So this is not one thing. We want to assess it more in detail, that how we could actually pinpoint our customers. That could be done through partnership with these telcos, which have a better metrics of the travel pattern of people, because they could assess that who is traveling, and you latch on a certain BTS, and from there you could have the data. So this kind of partnership could help us in marketing. So now this is, I would wrap up, and I'll summarize what we have been doing. Our eventual goal with this ride sharing is to enable people to take more trips. How this would be done is when their traveling cost is minimized and they feel it hassle-free. And it becomes fun when you have a better social experience with people traveling along. So that's why it will become more convenient and more fun. And there's a double bottom line to it. There is a social experience in this as well. There is something giving back to the society. You are actually reducing carbon footprint. Me and my co-founder were once standing at the Toll Plaza doing a survey, we were counting the number of cars. And we realized that the cars in which there was no family, every third car has only one guy in it. Most of the cars have only, the maximum occupancy which we see was 2. It was around, we stayed there for around 3 hours, and it was around more than 1,000 cars which passed by. So we picked up that these guys who are traveling, a single person is traveling on his own car, he could save tons of carbon dioxide by carpooling. So in this way, we want to reduce the carbon footprint. And when I was talking with partnerships, we are touching different oil marketing companies which are getting very socially responsible, that we can, collaborate and do some partnership with those. So in the end, I would say that with this presentation, with speaking to you, we are very open for ideas, partnerships, and collaboration, and funding, of course. So if you have any such avenue you think you could work with us, we will be very happy to go along that road. And these are the links for the app. Please download it and see it for yourself. And now I'm open for questions. Fahad?
Yeah, thanks, Junaid, for the overview of the app. Pretty exciting, actually, to see in Pakistan we are having a carpool app. First question we have is from Ali Fahad. Have you thought of partnering with large companies?
Yeah, of course. That's our target. I strongly believe that a partnership with large companies is going to bring us the most users in this. Then there is a confidence level as well, and moreover, their user base will give us the critical mass we are looking forward for. And for that, we have touched upon certain telcos, and we are thinking that large organizations like the universities, it will bring us a lot of users.
So I'm going to probe a little bit into it, Junaid. I think I'm taking how you're approaching these companies and what is the value prop for them. I understand some of the value prop you have already mentioned in the deck, but like from a corporate perspective, like I know some of the companies in Pakistan do provide, the van services to their employees or pick and drop services. So how you're looking into in terms of that?
So Fahad, firstly, we are intercity, and most of the companies are not providing any intercity facility. Oh. So here we can bring value to those companies. And these days, most of the companies are working towards the greener the user experience. So we provide all of those things. So in that way, it could help those companies as well.
No, good to know. Next question is from Abdul Hai. What is the legal structure of your company in Pakistan? Do you have approvals from all the government department involved?
This is a pretty interesting question. So far, most of the issues come when you monetize. Then, you are into a lot of things. Currently, there is no legislation which is prohibiting us from carpooling. So as the things will progress, we will have greater visibility. So far, we have consulted our legal counsel, and there is no any challenge.
So far, nobody actually is saying. Are you thinking that these things should be legalized in Pakistan somewhat? For example, Uber and Lyft are having really tough time in California these days, right? Do you think in future countries like Pakistan, who is emerging market for shared economy, should look into legislation and other kind of those things?
Definitely, that's the way to go. We have deeply studied how the Uber was going from one country to the other and what were the challenges they were facing. The biggest challenge comes from the services which are actually having revenue from such ventures, and you cut their revenue. And if they are tax paying, then the real issue comes. We have seen that most of the countries, they have done the legislation once these companies have started operating there. and then they would assess that how much of the percentage should go into taxes and how much should be taken for any such legal matters. So I believe this is like Uber Careem are working in Pakistan. So another 6-8 months, there would be a structure, a better legal structure for these things.
Cool. I got to probe you a little bit more into this. How's the taxation work here? Like I saw in the app when you were showing us that there was some price point was coming 1,300, 1,200. I saw those. Right? Sorry, I'm not active in your app. So this money goes to the user account, am I right? Or the rider account, or the person who's allowing people to get into the car, right? So how they get taxed or you get taxed, if you want to provide some insights on that.
So far, what I mentioned is this is cost sharing. So what we are saying is that nobody is making money over it. So the taxation does not come here. So that was the most important point. We are actually, so if someone has a cost of 3,000 per travel, so what we did is that we break down it and we give a window that this is the window in which you could actually monetize. And then it is the free hands of the market which regulate the price.
That's amazing.
So usually, yeah.
No, good to know. Actually, this is pretty good to know that user doesn't need to have any tax burden because it's a cost effective and cool. Good to know. The next question is from Ali Bhatt. Is there potential for you to diversify into logistic as well?
This is a very interesting question. Yes, there is opportunity, and with opportunity, there is responsibility. When you are doing logistics, we have done this so far. Certain users have touched base upon us that we do have massive traffic on the weekends. So if there is big carriage, so we actually have taken certain loads from Islamabad to Lahore. But delivery is another aspect. So we could, if when I was talking about partnerships, we could do this with different partnerships. So if some logistic company comes along, so we could be their carriers actually.
Yeah, thank you, Junaid. I just want to remind my users just to keep their mic muted and video muted as well. Just reminding everyone. The other question we have is from Farooq OS. What are you doing, assessing, researching in order to fill those empty seats, basically? Can you please share your activities in regards thus far? I remember you mentioned, Junaid, about that your focus is to how to improvise getting those occupancy in those empty seats. And I think he's asking what you have researched so far and what are your strategies around that?
So currently what we are doing is now this is organically grown and most of the users are professionals. What we realized is that there is a lot of student base. People are from different cities and studying in different universities in different cities. So these are the guys who would be filling those empty seats. So as an experiment, what we did first is that we had a student ambassador program at LAMS. We had 3 student ambassadors and they were promoting it. So there were a lot of people from Islamabad in LAMS. There were people from Peshawar. So they started using our application. Now what we see is that we would be doing this student ambassador program with more energy. And our target is for the University of Lahore. We were amazed to know that there are around 27,000 students studying in this university, and most of them are coming from other cities. So the next target for the student ambassador program is this university, and then we have NUST, we have JICI lined up. So around 50 to 60% seats will be filled by this. Then I was talking about promotions of giving free fuel. So we will have ambassadors in different companies as well. First, when we offer a new route, so we would be requesting these guys that they would bring the initial users. So when there are around 20, 30 initial users, then they will pick it up from there. For say there's this organization X, and there are 7, 8 people coming from Hyderabad. So we will bring them on our application. And then from the word of mouth, this will spread. And those guys which are getting promotions, they will be actively seeking users for us as well.
Thanks, Junaid. The next question is from Nadeem Amin. I'm having a little tough time in understanding the question. So I know Nadeem is still active on the forum, so he might be able to ask directly. But his question was, for marketing, how about IP or device targeting? Have you tried it or thought about it?
Nadeem, this is a very interesting question. Really, I thought that this is something which is going to bring the maximum number of users to us. But the issue is that data in Pakistan for this is not available. So we actually went to 3-4 telecom companies and we make a matrix out of it that, see, if you are traveling on the motorway, where is the point? If someone is being latched on that cell site for 4-5 times, this is our guy. Improving it, it could be if you could check the psychographics, the usage pattern, the spending pattern, and then you narrow down the guy. But the issue is that we are not able to do this. And with the second point was the IP or device. So maybe we could do this by providing free Wi-Fi. If the people are latching on it, we will have their IPs, and then we can have the targeted marketing. Yes, this is a good idea, and this is also in our roadmap that if it does not go well with the telco companies, maybe we are going to do this on our own.
The next question is from me, Junaid, actually.
Sure.
I thought somebody slide, the last one you said, you're reducing a travel duration, right? That's what.
Yeah.
So I would like to see what does it mean actually, because when intercity, I'm going from Lahore to Islamabad or Karachi to Lahore. I know Pakistan has limited highways, right? We have one backbone only. I believe there are not many ways. So how are you planning to reduce that?
So far, how it is that if you have to travel through the most famous bus service, you have to reach the terminal half an hour before it leaves. And then when the terminal on the far end, it could be anywhere. So with this application, what you can do is you can select those people who are traveling from near points to your office or your home, and then the drop points if they suits you. So in this way, E2E, your travel time is being reduced. So for say, there were many people who would know that when I'm coming from Islamabad, I would be traveling from Kashmir Highway. So they will have a pickup point selected there. So they will reach there in time. And then we could, with Devo, it was around 5.5 hours from Lahore to Islamabad. So with this carpool, it is just the travel time, no waiting time.
Good, thanks. Next question is from Abdul Hai. I'm not sure you're going to reply that or not, but it's regarding financials. What are your revenues and margins so far? Abdul being very direct.
Yeah, he's being very direct. So as I was saying that we have formulated different strategies for go-to-market, and through that we have different assessments that actually is our burn rate. And that is a pretty extensive working. So whosoever is interested, we can take it offline. They can direct DM me, and then we can take it from there. But it is difficult to explain here because it is quite extensive.
So Abdul, what Junaid is saying, you can direct message him. And if you need his contact information, Abdul knows me. So feel free to ping me and I will connect you with Junaid. Next question is from Farooq. Can you please share the data about carbon footprint? How many hours spent researching for those cars?
Yeah, interesting. So what we have realized is that we need to have a deep dive in it. Frankly, what we assessed is that so far we have around saved 920 tons of carbon dioxide. This was assessed that if the users were not carpooling, what percentage of them were going to take their own cars, and if that person is going to take their own cars, which route it would be and how much spending on how many liters of fuel they would be spending. So that's how we calculated it. And I could share the metrics with you in detail if you want.
Good. So next question is from Abdul Hai. What are your user growth projection in next 5 years?
So there are two options. One is to stay the niche and closed group, which we are. So through that, we assess that we could grow up to 300,000 users. And if we open up, then the opportunity is limitless. Through that, we can have an assessment of around 1,200,000 people. And it all depends on the major routes which we have calculated. These are around 16 routes on which we would be having this much of. So it all depends upon our situation in the next 5 years. If we are growing as per our plan, then we can have the business plan beyond 5 years as well. Instead of going for these 16 major routes, we would have we could have more routes as well.
Thank you, Junaid. The next question, it's not a question, it's actually, Farooq is asking, if you're open to share your idea and working with the Chicago booth, I think Farooq is an MBA student there, and he's working on several ideas, and he's offered that if you guys are open to talk to them, he is willing.
Yeah, sure.
So,
most definitely.
So we will send Farooq Junaid information to you, and you can direct message him regarding the discussion further. Ali Bhatt. COVID-driven behavioral changes have impacted commuter prosperity to share rides with strangers. How are you going to address those concerns? With COVID, things have changed.
With COVID, definitely things have changed, and we have responded the very same way. We have clearly explained to our users the standard operating procedures. Instead of 4 people, we are encouraging that there should be only 2 people sharing the rides, so that one could sit in the front, other on the back, and they should have masks and all of the stuff. Yes, yes, this is a challenge, and we have seen reduced traffic on our platform. But again, because people were generally working from home, so there was very less commuting between the cities. So now is the time when we will be really assessing what the difference, what the bigger difference this all situation has brought to our industry actually.
Cool. Syed Ali Abbas Haider have asked, how you ensure the credibility of your drivers, timings and pickups?
So as I was telling you, there are 5 factors authentication, and there is a feedback which increases or decreases your profile strength. So if the driver is not in time, we receive a bad feedback. So it reduces the strength of the driver, and then probability of landing future rides is decreased. In the future, we might put up a no-show banner as well. But I'm very glad to tell you that the 8,200 seats we filled, there were very minor instances when we were reported that someone was not in time. So 10-15 minutes margin was absorbed by the driver or the user, and we haven't so far seen this thing happening. Another factor which weighs in here is the credibility of the people. Most of these guys are professional and they have a relationship to build. So and most of them are the educated guys, so they make sure that this is not happening. But the onus is on us, so that we are catering through the authentication factors and through the feedback.
Good to know. Next question is from Abdul Hai. What is the size and capability of your current team?
Currently, we are 4 guys in the core team, and then we have different student ambassadors. One guy is really focused towards the app development, and then one is dealing with operations. Me and Bilal, we are actually looking after the marketing and strategy structure. The student ambassadors which we have, they most of the times help us with the marketing campaigns, as well as if we want to have certain shout outs or certain smaller events. But yes, Mr. Abdul Hai question actually points out towards the previous one in which we were calculating our burn rate and stuff. So when we are targeting the next milestone of 10,000 rides, we are actually going to increase our team. We will have a full-time developer. We will have different people leading operations, and so we have a proper departmental structure, which will be a flatter one, but we need 5-6 more people, 6 to be precise.
Thank you, Junaid. Next question is from Safarullah Bhutto. How are you providing security to your users? Because we saw a lot of kidnapping and harassment cases in these rides app.
So as I've mentioned that we have this profile strength. So when take me as a user as well. So when I am accepting rides, when I am getting a request on my ride, I actually filter them. The platform, it facilitates me in the selection. What I do is that I see if there is a banner of any organization, if there is how many rides he has shared, what is the strength of his profile, what are the comments of people. So it filters the guy a lot. So in this way, the vulnerability reduces. this is one factor which we also realize that this is going to haunt us when we go massive and when we open up. So what we are going to do is that we are also thinking to introduce a panic button. But so far this has not been an issue because usually people filter up. And the organization banner, it is actually helping us a lot. The women I was telling you, which are using this application, I usually get in touch with them that how you actually do your filtering. And then the points are that we see that how many rides people have taken, if the guy knows someone who is the referral, and usually we talk to the referral before traveling with someone.
Thank you, Junaid. Next question is from Faisal Raza. I heard you mention future routes. Is Multan Lahore in consideration?
Of course, Multan Lahore is in consideration, and with the new motorway between Lahore and Faisalabad, there is a lot of traffic. Those guys who were actually staying in these big cities, now they can travel. They were usually traveling over the weekends. Now they are making trips during the week as well. So yes, this is our next route. After Hyderabad and Karachi, this one is the one we are targeting.
So I will go a little bit deep into it. Any timeline in mind to help Faisal?
Next 3 months, we will launch this route in next 3 months, definitely. What we do actually is that we actually gather around 30-40 people so that the user experience is good. So when you land up on the application, there are actually people traveling. So we gather the data of them, we start marketing, liaison with them, and then we launch the route so that there are people actually traveling. There are cars available on that route.
That's a good one. So you have the supply so that you can cater the demand.
Of course.
Yep. Thank you. Next question from Irfan Niaz. Why don't you become a back-end ride-sharing technology platform service provider and let anyone white label and sell the service anywhere in the world? Have you thought about that?
This is an interesting idea. We were thinking of going to different countries as well, but this is a different angle, and we will definitely think on it. Now I am thinking that because as I was telling you, that what we think is that we should have a supply line available, and then we could, have the demand on that. So if someone other partner can manage the supply line, then okay, we could look into it. We will assess the pros and cons of this. It will loosen our grip a bit, but yes, because then we will be a back-end developer, maybe not as a company. We could assess this, yeah.
Yeah, so add to Irfan's question. I mean, you might have heard about a company called Tulio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tulio is basically connected through Lyft and Uber both. They provide all the connectivity services. When say connectivity means if you make a call on Uber, it goes through Tulio. So Tulio is the famous developer platform. So something like that, Tulio, most likely that's what Irfan is pointing out, that you provide the platform and the APIs, and then the other becomes, they basically use the routes as you said, on the top of your platform. So Tulio is very successful, by the way, doing that. So it's another business too.
This is a good idea, but when I was mentioning that we will lose control, this is the social experience of our riders. We are very particular about that. So what kind of a driver and rider comes on the platform, then it won't be in our control. So that is one issue which we really want to assess. And then I can comment better on this.
Thanks, Junaid. Next question is from me actually, and given that there were some questions regarding security, and I want to ask and probe into it. Are you tracking any user activity? And when I say I want to be very open, like you have apps, right? And people use your app, so you definitely have logging in it, right? So do you have a map, just like in Uber and Careem, that, okay, I order a ride and I'm going to Islamabad. Can you see that in your app? I know how many times they have put the request for that route, that can be seen, but are you tracking live which path they have taken, which route they have taken, or no, not at all?
Not yet. We were actually thinking that to increase the safety and security, we could do this, but then we did certain surveys, and for this you need to have certain consent of the user and it should pop up when you are downloading the app and when you are registering. So many people said that it is a very open thing. So when they are taken aback by these kind of consents if they are giving. So we stepped back. So maybe as a future safety feature, we could do this, but we at this point in time are not in this business of getting data and using it.
Good to know. Zafarullah Bhutto, how are you doing verification and filtering of user first time? Like somebody sign up on your app the first time, that how you ensure about verification, whether whatever they are putting in the form is correct or not. Yeah, that's also a security concern, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that they will receive a code on their user profile. And then you have to have a good, then your user profile strength is only 1 by 5. And usually people don't take rides with people with so low a profile strength. So you have to fill in, you have to connect your Facebook profile to increase your profile strength. You have to give your professional email address. So it is all increasing the profile strength. That's how it is being done. We are not, and initially what we were doing is that we were manually creating a log of the CNICs of these guys and then checking it through different services given by the government. But then we stopped doing this, and we actually became the facilitator, so that the platform, it gives a good strength or a weak strength. And then it's up to them that how they will assess and whether they are going to travel or not.
Thanks, Junaid. Next question is from Mahina Lashari. Is there some way through which you are encouraging women to use your platform? It is definitely easier, comfortable for men to go along with stranger as opposed to women. And that's a great question, because given that in Pakistan, the culture and the society, right, how you're dealing with that?
Fahad, we did a lot of surveys. We asked a lot of women whether they would be comfortable ride sharing, and the answer was no. We actually did that in LAMS, and the women who were actually very bold, they were not very straightforward about sharing this platform. So what we did is we are not actually targeting, but we are not discouraging them, because we know their barriers are high. So what we do is that we knew that who are going to travel, they will come anyway. When they land on our platform, we try to facilitate them the maximum we could. So what we do is either me or the guy, Abir, who is handling the operations, they become the facilitator. So whenever there are any ride requests to them, mostly the women who are using our platform are the drivers. So they actually go a step deeper into the scrutiny of the people. They usually select those guys who have the maximum strength and who are repeat users who have around 30-40 rides availed or given. So that's how we are actually trying to facilitate women to use this. But as a mass marketing, we are not doing this.
So Junaid, I know we have many questions, but actually I want to probe a little bit into Mahina question. And I don't know if you can answer this or not. Do you know what percentage of men and women use your app?
More than 95% is men. Yes, the woman percentage is low, but as I was telling that we don't discourage them. Whosoever landed on our platform, we are trying our level best to encourage them. So we take extra pain of scrutinizing those guys who are actually sending them requests. And I actually mentioned one such woman. I actually traveled myself with her. She was working for UNDP, and she was an excellent driver, an excellent company. So if he later on feels that she receives some request and she's not very comfortable, she would ask me, and we will go check who the guy is. I will talk to them. And what we do is then whenever they are sharing ride as a driver or the rider, we actually create a log of the people they are traveling with.
Next question is from Sarah. I think you have already responded, but if we can just, because her question is, how do you see carpooling as a safe commute in COVID situation?
So I think carpooling is more safer in COVID situation than using any public shared means as buses or something, because the people here are usually I told you that we are a closed group, and these people are mostly working professional students. They have higher maturity level. So when we tell them the SOPs, they are actually following those SOPs. And I have seen many requests in which they have clearly mentioned that I will be taking only the first come first serve service based. Only the one guy, the first one which will come, I will take them along. And the masks are a must. I am not going to pick someone if he's not wearing mask. So people are actually adhering to all the SOPs which we have formulated. So this seems a bit more safe, but yes, it brings up a challenge that now lesser number of seats are being filled because people are cautious. They don't want to have many people in their car.
Got it.
That's a challenge, yeah.
We have few minutes left, but let's take these two questions and then we move on. From Ali Fahad, there are tons of car ride-sharing apps in Pakistan. Where do you differentiate?
Of course, there are tons of cars. As I mentioned, there are two things. It's winner takes it all. Whosoever has the higher number of people, it means higher number of rides available, higher number of rides availed. So there we make the difference. There are so many startups which came after us. They did massive marketing. They did not have the critical mass, so they failed. How we differentiate is that it's a closed group of people as well. The people are filtered. The profile strength matters. And most of the guys are working professionals. So this is a closed group of people interconnected with each other. So here we are the difference. There was a very big company. They have around 11 million of seed funding as well. And they could not succeed while our WhatsApp group was successful at that time.
Thank you.
So these were the reasons. Yeah.
The last one from Faisal Raza. What about background checks for people signing up for the app?
Yes, we could do that. We are, as I told you, we have the 4-factor authentication method, and the fifth one would be the CNIC verification. We actually are going to get this. This is a paid service by Nadra. So what we are going to do is that we will keep it as a next step, and we will integrate the CNICs of guys traveling with us.
Thanks a lot, Junaid, for the session, for the presentation and answering so many actually questions. And thank you for the users who have been listening to us. They are asking all great questions actually. Given that we have only 2 minutes left, I would like to ask you, what will be your closing thoughts for this session today?
Fahad, I am very hopeful about this idea in particular and Pakistani startups in general. What I believe is that the good thing is people are actually focused towards solving problems. So initially they did not have the resources, they did not have the guidance, but now people like on this forum, many learned, accomplished people have stepped forward and they are helping each other. And through this, I learned a lot during the past sessions. I reflected upon our marketing strategy. I realized that we have to pivot on certain things, and this was all because of the learnings from the prior sessions. So I very firmly believe that this group and these people coming forward are actually the number one step in becoming producing a proper ecosystem of startups in Pakistan. So I would say stay positive, stay motivated, and keep moving.
Thank you, Junaid. And that's all for today. Have a nice weekend, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fahad. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone, for joining.